All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Welcome back to All in Mizzou, where we talk Mizzou every day. Here with Rogue Media. My name is Davis Wilson. It's Friday. I'm just pumped up for life, man. We got Adam Busack in the studio today.
Good to be back.
It's always great to have Adam on. Yeah, we had a lot of fun last time he joined, and we'll be doing some more chatting about Mizzou football and various things. But Adam, thanks for coming back. How's life in Colorado for you?
Oh, nothing too crazy to complain about out here. Our two main football exports, Colorado and Colorado State, both having a bit of a down year out here. So I would say the college football vibes are not particularly high. Although I don't know, this is not to get us totally sidetracked when we started, but have you seen the new Colorado State uniforms that were released yesterday?
No.
Oh man, let me send these your way. They're
let me get
good looking uniforms
here. Are they good or bad? You don't like them?
I'm a big fan of them personally, but I will allow you to.
Is there some controversy around it? Like, is it?
I wouldn't necessarily say controversy around it, but it's they're going with a logo they've never worn before. And any time that you introduce a new logo on the helmet, I think sometimes people can be a little.
Yeah, that's usually a good thing.
It can be hit or miss. We'll put it that way.
Let's check it out. Oh wow, look at that! Wow, let me see if I can show the YouTube audience.
With the beanie on.
I love it. I like it, man.
So they're wearing these for their the Colorado State's big rivalry game is them against Wyoming. And Wyoming announced earlier, I suppose it was last week actually, that they were doing like a blackout theme for this year's game, where they're kind of honoring their state's coal mining tradition, which is interesting, right? But like, a brown and yellow team wearing all black is not necessarily what you would expect. And so Colorado State, kind of to counter that, is wearing these all white uniforms. And I think that game's going to end up looking so nice.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I kind of know the Wyoming quarterback a little bit.
Oh, no kidding.
He went to South Lake Carroll, and he's good friends with my cousin who also went to South Lake Carroll. So I've met him before. So that's kind of fun.
Small world.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I meant to tell you this off camera, but I really enjoyed your column on Demaryius Thomas yesterday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well done. Jet Rowe would be proud of you.
Well, thank you. As you can tell, I'm still staying close to football, even if Mizzou is not within arm's length of me anymore.
Yeah. Well, we can just talk about. There's a lot to talk about. We were texting during the Alabama game. I was pretty fired up. I must admit, I'd had a few Bloody Marys to start the day, and
as one does.
I mean, I was fired up, and looking back on it, I rewatched the games throughout the week, and we can talk about it, but maybe I overreacted at times here and there. But I guess first, what I want to do, actually, I forgot. Missouri just flipped a recruit from Oklahoma State, a 4-star defensive lineman. Last time we talked, Missouri's recruiting class, I think, was dead last in the SEC, looking very dead. But they've come out here and they've gotten involved with the flip game, and they've flipped a bunch of commits from. They got a guy from UCLA, which is going through a coaching change. They've got Oklahoma State also going through a coaching change. They're now up to 27th.
They've checked in with a bunch of kids at Penn State. I think this is kind of where Drinkwitz is making his hay this year, is waiting for these coach firings and then kind of prying kids away from the quote unquote higher level programs, right?
Mm-hmm. I think you're exactly right. Yeah.
To your point, the last time we talked, I think this was kind of like, oh no, like how heavy are we going to have to hit the portal this year just to put a competitive field on the team next season? And obviously still some time until signing day. A lot of things can change between now and December, but like things are looking a little bit better for the Tigers right now than they did a month ago even.
Absolutely. Yeah. That Penn State thing too. Drinkwitz already has a decent history of recruiting up there, so I imagine he's going to hit that pretty hard. And what do you think? Is Drinkwitz the next coach of the Nittany Lions? What do we think?
Oh, man. I think that would be a really good hire for Penn State. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I from what I've read, from what I've seen, I think they're going to try and bring in a coach that has, some extensive Big Ten experience.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see like a PJ Fleck from Minnesota, for example, maybe slide over in that sort of role. But I think that Drinkwitz has, recruiting wise, money wise, location wise, just about everything he needs to be successful in Missouri. And I think it would be foolish of him to try and jump to a different program at this point in his career.
I agree with you. And also, Drinkwitz was being paid more than James Franklin was being paid at Penn State.
Correct.
So it's not a money thing. I think in the SEC, it's hard to argue that any job out of the conference outside of like Ohio, I mean, Penn State obviously on paper is a better program than Missouri, but right now I think, I don't know, it's like the Indiana situation with Kurt Signetti, who just signed a big extension. It's almost like, is this really a promotion just in this day and age of NIL and stuff? So, yeah, PJ Fleck's interesting. I heard a lot about Matt Rule.
I could 100% see that as well.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. But, yeah, Drinkwitz doing a nice job with the I saw actually one more thing on this. I saw some chatter on Penn State Twitter about how Drinkwitz is coming and he's bringing back Bo Bravila to right the wrong of letting Bo go. So that would be pretty fun.
Every once in a while, you see that in college basketball where a player transfers out and then transfers back into the same program a couple of years later.
Yeah,
I don't know that happens in football. That would be funny to see though.
You don't see that very much. The only thing I can think of is like remember. Caden Proctor, actually, the left tackle for Bama. Remember that whole saga where he was with Bama? He went
to
Iowa.
Yep.
Right back to Bama, all in like the span of a couple months. That's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, Missouri's up to now the 27th best class in the country, and it seems like they're going to be okay there. There was some panic, but you think it's safe to say now that we're feeling better about the high school class? I always kind of assumed Drink was going to go pretty hard in the portal, but you have to have a high school class for the first foundation of your roster. So you feel good about where things are heading? I
mean, at the end of the day, like high school recruiting is a lot less important than it used to be, but you're right. It very much is still important. And you look at this class right now, which if I'm not mistaken with the flip from earlier today, we're looking at 6 4-star recruits now, 5 or 6 4-star recruits from that class, and a dozen plus 3-stars as well. So even just in depth of amount of people that you've brought in, you feel decent about it. Last year, I think their class got up to 17. So I would say that Drinkwitz is probably not done yet. Would see them getting a little bit closer to that number, but just that volume of 4-star talent that you have in the first place, that's a very good baseline for this, this school to be. That being said, I would argue that Drinkwitz, not that he's a more successful recruiter out of the portal than he is out of high school, but I would say the pieces he gets out of the portal tend to work a lot better than some of his high school pieces. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think he's done a very good job evaluating the needs in the portal, and you've seen a lot of his big high school gets, like I'm blanking on his name, but the kid from Missouri, big 5-star.
You thinking of Williams Winery?
Yeah, that's right. Him, and then Kewan Lacey, another big guy that they come in here and then they leave pretty quickly. So I wonder if he's kind of focusing more on the portal just for that reason. I don't know, but
DJ Whistlak the year before as well. I think
that's
with high school, you just have a higher likelihood of being burned. I think in college, at least these guys have some college tape on them. They've played against some class competition. Like it's just a safer commodity.
Yeah.
Now you can't exactly build an entire team out of the portal. There's been some programs that have tried to do that. Hello UNC, hello Colorado, and clearly it hasn't worked super well. But I think the recipe that Drinkwitz is putting together right now has been working for Missouri. Mm-hmm. I would have argued going into the season that this year was probably a bigger test of the Drinkwitz system than last year, just because this was the first season without Luther. This was the first season without Brady, going to see if he really can build, a program and not just a team. to this point in the year with this team and with the team that he's building for next season, I would say that he's passed with flying colors.
Yeah, I agree with you. Another thing about what I remember about last year, I remember, that was when we were covering signing day. So I remember this, like he did a lot of work, like right at the buzzer of signing
right
day.
at the end. Yeah.
Javion Hilson was a guy that was very late. Demarion Fulks, Marquise Davis. So he's definitely, like you said, I don't think he's done yet. And
Bodie was a late flip as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He was later on too. So,
or Lubide, I guess is what we're calling him on the broadcast now.
Yeah, I guess so. I never figured that out when we were writing about him, but
no clue.
Lubide.
That's the joy of working in newspaper. You don't have to know how to pronounce people's names. You just should.
Yeah, you should know how to spell them, but you don't know how to say them. All right, well, recruiting heading in a good direction. Man, Lubide. Speaking of Lubide, I guess we can start with that for the Alabama game. One of the bright spots on the Missouri offense really didn't get going until the fourth quarter. But to me, I'm watching the game, I'm rewatching it. I'm like, I feel like this guy should be getting on the field a lot more. And I'm hoping that this is kind of a jumping off point for that, because to me, he's been, you think about the catch he had against Kansas, you think about he kind of shot some life back into the team here against Alabama late, gave him a chance to tie the game. I think he should be playing more.
He's a guy that you need on the field in every key down situation, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And it's tough because you have some wide receiver depth, but I think you have to find a way to get him.
He's clearly established himself, in my opinion, as one of your upper echelon guys, right? Like if he's not, obviously you're going to try and have Coleman on the field every play. You're going to try and have Speedy Johnson on the field every play as well. I would imagine if him and Joshua Manning are fighting for that slot role, that's fine by me.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's fine by me.
Yeah. I think you can't go wrong with both of them, but right now it feels like a lot more Manning, and I'd like it to at least be a good mixture, because man, he was awesome.
And if that means that there's a little bit less Speedy Johnson on the field, like I've been an outspoken supporter of his as well, but I think Lubide has looked in his very limited playing time. He's impacted the game a lot more than Speedy has. And I would not mind, just going to him more often earlier in the game, try and establish that a little bit earlier on. You're going to have an opportunity to do that this week against Auburn with a team that has maybe a little bit worse of a secondary than you saw last week.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how much of in the mix he is this week.
Yeah, I think they got to get him. I think Drinkwitz talked about that too. But especially when you have in this Alabama game, Kevin Coleman kind of banged up, you're looking for a guy to give you a spark. I think that's your guy. You got to give him the ball. But
100%.
All right, let's. What were your thoughts on this Alabama game, just overall as you were watching it unfold? To me, I think there's a problem in the secondary that we still are seeing, although I think the front seven and the defensive line are doing a decent job of masking that. And then on offense, I don't know. I guess you have days like these where just not a ton is working, and it was kind of a welcome to the SEC moment for Bo. But what were your thoughts on the game overall?
Yeah, you're right that you're going to have days like this, and sometimes you come out and you just look really bad offensively. And Missouri had several of those games last year, right? Like I think
a lot, yeah.
Against Auburn, for example, is maybe the prime example of that, where you can go out and you can have a bad game, weather the storm a little bit, and come out with a win. They did the same thing against Vanderbilt last year.
Yep.
To this point this season, we have not seen them look bad and come out with a win.
Right.
And granted, they only have one loss, but that was a game that you really want to get, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a program that is on the verge of something special and has been for a couple of years now, but they just can't quite get
We're waiting for
that.
We're waiting for that big win. Yeah.
We really are. And there were a couple opportunities for it in 2023, the Georgia, the LSU game last year. I think both the Alabama and the A&M game kind of fit that bill.
Yeah.
Obviously playing it at Faroe versus on the road, I think is very different. And that's why I think, myself included, a lot of Mizzou fans felt this was the year that they were finally going to get over that breaking point. And then it just didn't happen. It's just the same issues, bad backbreaking interceptions and in the second half, and your defense can't get a turnover when you need a turnover. Like, there were opportunities for Mizzou to win this game, and they just didn't do it. And I think that, to me, is the most frustrating part.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't get blown out. This was not a lopsided game by any stretch of the imagination, but they just couldn't seize the reins when they had the opportunity to do that. And until they can do that, this is going to continue to be a team that is not among the upper echelon of programs in the country.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking about this on a show earlier this week, but you talked about the Georgia game in 23. I think of the Georgia game in 22 as well, where you're
100%.
At this point as a program, you're just hoping to keep, especially in 22, you're really just hoping to keep it close with Georgia. And, I think you could say in 22, okay, Missouri played pretty well, but they lost. This is something to take away. We feel good about this. But now you're at a point where that's not going to cut it anymore, really. And one thing that I think is interesting is that, or different than the Georgia situation, is I think Missouri didn't play well and barely lost, which makes you feel, I guess, better about where they are. They're,
to a certain extent, it makes you feel better, but they still lost, right?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It was just frustrating. By no means is it, the end of the world or end of the season. It makes things a little more complicated and more important. Like this week immediately becomes much more important because if you have two losses this early, it's going to be so tough to find a way into the playoff. But it's not a blowout. And, last year we were both there in Tuscaloosa. It was a total blowout. Granted,
wasn't a competitive game from the first drive.
No, not even
first
close.
drive.
Yeah, and granted, you had we had Drew Pine in there, and I remember walking to the post game with you, and we were talking about how that may have been the worst quarterback performance I've ever witnessed with my own two eyes.
So bad. Bad. Where is Drew Pine these days, by the way?
Oh man,
let me look that up. Sorry, not to get you sidetracked.
Great question. That's a really good question.
Bowling Green.
Oh wow, really?
He's on the Connor Bazelak career path.
Oh my gosh, the Mizzou to Bowling Green pipeline is real. That's crazy. Oh man, that's great. What about Bazelak? Is he too old now?
I think
gotta be.
I thought he came out in the draft.
Connor Bazelak, man. We've come. Losses like this suck, but we have come a long way since the Bazelak days.
Connor Bazelak is on an NFL roster right now.
Oh my God. Who?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh my gosh. That's
He's learning under Baker, dude.
That's hilarious. Wow. We've come a long way since then.
We really have.
Goodness
we really have. The first game of the Drinkwitz era, people forget about this, but the very first game of the Drinkwitz era was started by Sean Robinson, who was a safety. Not a quarterback. He was a safety.
Yeah. Yep. I remember him because he played high school football in Texas and went to TCU for a year.
I was going to say he ended up at TCU, didn't he?
Yeah, he came out and I think he started as a true freshman at TCU maybe. And I was like, man, this is the next Trevon Boykin. And then he fell apart a little bit, transferred to Missouri. And yeah, I remember that. That was funny.
I believe he ended up at Kansas State after the fact.
Yeah, I think he went and played defense at Kansas State or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
he was an
bizarre career path.
Very bizarre. Yeah, very. Yeah, that game that was against Alabama, right?
That was the first. Yes, that's correct.
Oh, yeah.
To your point earlier, you were talking a little bit about that Georgia 2022 game. And I don't know what all you got up to that evening, but myself and a couple of my friends after that game was over, walked from the student center or to the student section, to the student center, and recorded kind of like a live reaction on the radio on KCOU.
Okay.
And in this discussion, one of my buddies, Mickey Doolittle, said how proud he was of Mizzou for hanging in a game like that.
Yeah.
And I think at that point in time, that's totally fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
But if that exact same game was played in 2025, and you can forget about that game, after the performance against Alabama this weekend, do you think there was anybody on the entire campus that walked away from that game and thought, man, I'm so proud of our effort?
I can't imagine. I mean, I think no, because I think a lot of our fans now are expecting or are acting like we're, as a fan base now, we're acting like we are one of the good SEC programs now. Like we've made a jump. Drinkwitz is a great coach. We're a great program. But if you say that, you can't walk away from this Alabama game and also say, I'm proud of us. We almost won. Those
Correct.
things don't work.
You gotta pick a lane. You can either be an elite program or you can be an almost elite program.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where we've just been, I feel like literally since 2023, we've been kind of teetering on that edge. I mean, the Cotton Bowl win, I thought that was going to really push us over the edge. And it seemed like last year was the year to really make a step. And looking at the schedule that Missouri had, it sure feels like that was an incredible opportunity to go do it. This year you have a chance. Obviously last year you were missing your quarterback a little bit, but this year you have a chance. So, I mean, they still get to go play at Texas A&M. They get to go play at Oklahoma. They've got what is the other big Vanderbilt on there? I mean, they got opportunities to find one of these big wins, but
and especially on the road, I think it's important how backloaded this schedule is.
Yeah.
Like down the stretches when you want to be playing well, whether you go to Vandy or to Oklahoma, those are both probably going to be like fringe top 15 games.
Yep.
If you could get a road win in either of those, that's huge for your postseason.
Massive. And then you have A&M at home, which is still just, I mean, that's huge. That'll be a big game. And then, and then you got obviously Mississippi State and Arkansas. I think Mississippi State's probably not as bad as they were last year. Arkansas.
Yeah, they are a lot better than people think this season, I believe.
Yeah. Arkansas might be not very good, although this Bobby Petrino thing could be exciting. Who knows?
Can you imagine if they hire him full-time, dude?
Oh, my gosh. It'd be incredible.
I've thought a lot about that.
It would be the funniest story in college football I can think of.
It really would be.
It's unreal how this all happened. Like I remember last year. Remember last year when we were on a road trip, and we were explaining this to Amelia. I remember we were telling her the story, and as we were telling it, I was like, "This is the funniest thing that's ever happened." And now he's back, and he's the head coach of Arkansas again. It's just insane.
Leader in the clubhouse to get the full-time job, apparently.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if they just give it to him, really. But
I hope they do, man. I hope they do. That would be incredible.
That would be very Arkansas of them to do. Very Arkansas.
Imagine he gets into another motorcycle accident. Sorry, I'm gonna move ahead.
Oh my God, that would be brilliant. All right, so what about someone I want to talk about? I guess we can talk about the defensive line a little bit. Damon Wilson, super good, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm excited about him. I'm excited about Zion Young. Although I have a question for you here. So after the first drive, Missouri looks awesome on offense. The only time really all game they look awesome on offense. And then you get when Alabama has the ball, it's like they stuff them on first down. It's a huge tackle for loss on second down. And then the taunting penalty, which these are grown men. I think taunting should be allowed. I mean,
yeah,
who's getting their feelings?
It's just mental mistakes like that.
It's a terrible.
I understand where you're coming from. Certainly, like that. I mean, throwing a flag there is not necessary, and I think that we all have thick enough skin to get past Zion Young flexing on a guy or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, that play was very reminiscent to me of LSU 2023, where Johnny Walker got himself kicked out of the game for a couple of
Yep.
we'll say immature moments like
Yes.
that. And that unfortunately falls on coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you cannot. I mean, I don't care if you think taunting is the worst penalty and it's stupid. You have to know that you cannot do that.
Correct.
And the stupidest part about it was Dalen Carnell is the one who made the tackle. If anyone's
Exactly.
going to taunt, Dalen Carnell should be taunting. Zion Young ran 20 yards across the field to go taunt this guy. So that was what was really frustrating. But
and immediately turned into points for Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. So my question is, say it's instead of the taunting, it's like 3rd and 15, and it's not right of me to assume that Missouri's secondary would be able to get a stop on 3rd and 15 because time and time again we've seen that they can't. But let's say they do 3rd and 15, Missouri gets the ball right back. I'm not saying the taunting penalty totally changes the game because it happens immediately in the first quarter, but do you think there's a world where, I mean, it's stupid to even have these conversations, but it felt like a big moment, especially considering that Alabama just ties the game, and from there, Missouri doesn't have the lead really ever again.
Yeah, I mean that there's two. This is slowly turning into remember some old Mizzou games, but there are two specific games that I don't think we've mentioned either of yet that I think about when you talk about that taunting penalty, and one of them obviously is last year's game against A&M, right, where they come out and they kind of get punched in the mouth on the first drive and never recover and never look good in the game at all. And the other one was back to 2023, and that was on the road at Kentucky.
Yeah,
where you're down on the verge of being down 3 scores after you're punting the ball away in the, early in the second quarter. And then you end up faking, the 4th down, you get that long touchdown pass to Johnson, and all of a sudden the fortunes turn and you kind of lead wire to wire the rest of the way after that. And Missouri as a program is very dependent on how they look in the first quarter. If they come out flat, they're not a great adjustment team. Right. And they kind of never have been. So if you get through that first quarter, if you get through that first drive, you don't have that bad penalty, you get the ball back, you already have a lead. I think Missouri probably would have won that game.
Yeah.
Of course, as you mentioned, doesn't matter now, but I 100% see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. I would like someone to do a case study on how the Luke Bauer touchdown pass changed the trajectory of both Missouri and Kentucky as 2 football programs, because from that moment on, things have changed drastically for both
of them.
Eli Drinkwitz and Mark Stoops. So
Mark Stoops, another guy who might lose his job by the end of the year.
Mark Stoops has to be the loser of the year, because remember he was going to be the next head coach of Texas A&M before the bullied the athletic department into changing their mind. So now he's about to lose his job at Kentucky, and golly.
A&M, meanwhile, is a top 5 team in the country. So
Mike Elko's doing a good job. All right, before I let you go, we can talk a little bit about Auburn. What do you want to see? Well, I want to ask you about Bo, and we can bring this into the Auburn game, because Bo Perbula has his worst game so far, just makes a couple really bad decisions. The vibes didn't seem great with him and his receivers, like, not to be the body language expert, but Marquise Johnson was frustrated, visibly frustrated.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. Kevin Coleman looked down. Maybe that's because he was hurt, but Bo looked, it seems like you need a game here where you get back on track as a passing offense, and also as a rushing offense, as an offense as a whole, I suppose. But what are you looking to see out of the offense here against Auburn? Because like you said, it's a worse secondary that you're going against, and it's statistically it's a bit of a better run defense, but it is a worse secondary. So what are you kind of looking to see?
Yeah, Bo has to understand, I think, that he doesn't need to be the hero.
Yeah, exactly.
He's coming from a Penn State offense for a couple of years that he was there, where really the quarterback, whether he was in the game, whether Drew Aller was in the game, the quarterback did have to be the hero, because that team that went, pretty deep into the playoffs for Penn State last year, they had basically one wide receiver, and that was their tight end, Tyler Warren. And other than that, they had absolutely nobody out there, right? So that's just not the way that Missouri is built. I think Bo needs to realize that he's got playmakers. He doesn't need to make the perfect throw. He just needs to put the ball in the hands of his playmakers. Seeing him take a deep breath and settle down a little bit, I want to see him a lot less wild than he was last week. That would be a huge step in the right direction for me. But I think more important than that is just varying the play calling a little bit. I mean, that was something that Drinkwitz was hypercritical of, not just in the post-game press conference on Saturday, but also in his media availability earlier this week, being willing to vary those first down plays. Sometimes you run, sometimes you pass, and you don't have the same formula every single drive. I think that's very important because last week Kirby Moore got a little bit formulaic, and I think Alabama clocked into that, and it just really shut everything down, especially the run game.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, because I mean, when you know you're running the ball, it's easy to stop the run, and Missouri became very predictable. I agree. It was definitely, that was a frustrating part of it all. Well, we've seen Missouri's defense versus Jackson Arnold before, and it went pretty well last time.
You mentioned Damon Wilson earlier. Did you see the clip of I believe it was Natalie Jones asked him a question about what they've seen out of Jackson Arnold, and instead of responding, he just went,
"Oh, I saw that picture. I saw that screenshot." Yeah,
I think the defensive line might have a very fun week.
Oh my gosh, that Alabama offensive line / Jackson Arnold it's. I think they've allowed the most sacks in the country. So there's. I mean, I hope this defensive line just tees off because
go disrupt the game, man.
That would be so much fun. Just go get them.
These are the kind of games that I think this Missouri team is built to win, just because when your defense really can step in and de facto take over a contest like that, I mean, then you're really truly not asking your offense to do all that much. You just want them to stay above the floating point. And this is an offense that I think is very capable of doing that, but it's predetermined on whether or not the defense is going to be able to get after Jackson Arnold. So that's kind of the key matchup to be watching.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see the secondary make one decent play. I'm not even asking for an interception. I'm asking for someone have good coverage and get a pass breakup. I feel like we haven't seen that. I just want someone to make a decent play, and it'll make a lot of people feel a little bit better about what's going on back there. But, and really, to me, it's the corners. I think the safeties are actually, I mean, we didn't even talk about the targeting call. I don't know what you think about that, but the safeties, to me, like I thought Carnell was pretty good. And
I thought Carnell had a totally fine game. You can't drop him into coverage, but you've known that about him.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, I think Catalan is continuing to get more comfortable in this defense, and Marvin
Banner looked decent down the stretch, I thought.
Yeah, he did. Burks, I guess he'll be allowed to come back for this game because that was in the first half. But
yeah,
to me, it's just like one of these cornerbacks has to do something. I would love to see that. Arnold hasn't thrown a pick yet, so I don't know if it's going to happen against this secondary, but you never know. That would be awesome to see. Just something positive out of them would be great.
Well, you'd like to see a little bit of a ball hawk somewhere in this secondary, and we really don't have that right now, especially with, and as weird as this is to say about somebody, that was kind of a third stringer transferring out, like with the loss of Caleb Flagg, you really don't have that kind of alpha ball hawk in the backfield. And I think once you take that aspect away from the defense, quarterbacks can be a little bit less worried about taking shots. And clearly we've seen the Tigers burned by that a couple times this year already.
Yeah, I agree. It makes you think how good we had it with Ennis Rakestraw and Chris Rain.
Oh man.
Golly, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. We need some guys like that to
getting two day 1, day 2 cornerbacks.
Yep.
In the same high school recruiting class.
Golly, yeah.
Pretty good.
That's
your first high school recruiting class.
Yeah, the first one.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
That's very good. Is Abrams Drain playing at all for your Broncos?
He shares time with Riley Moss, the kid out of Iowa.
Yeah. All right. That's good.
Got to start down the stretch last season when Moss was injured. So
good. Okay. I think Rakestraw's been hurt like his whole professional career,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
he's done for this season. He's on IR,
I hope he
which
can.
is just so
It
so
sucks.
unfortunate. Poor
Yeah.
guy.
Man, I think he could be a pretty good player if he could just stay healthy. He was
And
always fun.
exactly what that Lions team needs too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Golly, that'd be great. I wish he would be healthy. He's fun to watch. But
Hopefully,
all right, do you have any predictions for this game before I let you go? What is your
predictions for this game? Mizzou and Auburn always play weird games. They just always do. I mean, you remember the last time we played at their place?
I do. That was another game. That was another a great history Mizzou game that made me very sad.
I have been saying since the beginning of the season that here in the newsroom that I work at, here at the newspaper I work at, I have too many coworkers that are Auburn grads for this game to just be comfortable and fun. So I think this is going to be another very tight into the fourth quarter. Nobody is enjoying watching.
Nobody's
this game
having
for the first
fun.
3 quarters of the game. Missouri's the better team. I think they come out with the win here, but this is not going to be a pleasant watch.
Yeah. Gosh, that game in 20 was that 20? That was 22 as well.
Yeah, it was 22.
Gosh, that was the
year they went to Boston College and they lost that one in heartbreaking fashion as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's right. Yeah. Golly, that was horrible. That was there was that that was I think the most I don't want to say anything that I can't back up, but I think that may have been the most painful. Am I missing anything? The most painful loss as our time as students? Is there something?
That was the worst one for me. That was terrible. After that game, I went into my bedroom and I just stared at the ceiling for like 3 hours. While the lights were out, it was like 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that was a day. That was a day game. The rest of my day was totally ruined.
Totally ruined.
Yeah. This is terrible. Hopefully
none of that this week.
Hopefully no fumble into the end zone, a missed chip shot field goal. Hopefully none of that happens this year. But
Robert Meyer, we're counting on you.
Yeah. Well, Adam, thanks for joining me. I always like having you on. It's always good to see you and hear from you. I hope you're doing well.
Always great to talk to you. Always a pleasure to be on.
Well, we'll see what happens this year against Auburn. You're right. It is always a fun game. Saturday night. It's a big one. Would you call this a must win? Last thing I'll ask you. Assuming you want to go and make the playoffs.
If you're going to make the playoffs, I'll stand by what I said last year, which is that there will never be a 10-2 SEC team that misses the postseason.
Yeah,
but you don't want to burn that second win already.
No.
If it's not a must win, it's darn close.
Yeah, it's as close as you can get, and I think it might just be a must win because we already talked about the backloaded schedule. It's to count on this team to lose this game and to not lose anymore is tough. But yeah, got to go win it. Got to bounce back. Drinkwitz hasn't lost back-to-back games since 22. So that's a good stat. We'll see what happens.
That is a good stat. And that
All
was
right, Adam.
That was the bowl game, right? It was Arkansas bowl game, I want to say.
Was that Wake Forest? Was that year?
I thought that was the year we played Army in the Armed Forces Bowl. We lost both of those games, so either way, I guess it would be yes.
Army was 21. That was my
21. Yeah. Okay.
And Wake Forest was 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Regardless.
Yeah, both of those games were also not fun.
Yeah.
That Wake Forest game is up there for me in painful losses. That was a stupid one. But,
because there were just so many injuries that game.
God.
It was bizarre. Anyway,
we've come a long way. We can
really
complain all we want about close losses to Alabama, but golly, in just a couple of years, it has gotten a lot more fun to be a Missouri fan. That's my takeaway after this
100%.
This conversation.
100%.
All right, Adam. I appreciate it a lot. I'll talk to you soon. Have a nice rest of your day. You have anything big going on at work today, the rest of the day?
I got a football game coming up tonight. Central looking for their second win of the season.
All right.
So we'll see.
Good luck. Good luck to Central. All right. That's all we have. Come back on Monday. I'll talk about the game. Thanks for joining us. It's always fun to have Adam in. And hey, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. See you guys Monday.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.